So look, if you want to grow your wealth, your income, and increase the amount of time off, then these are the shortcuts that can help. Welcome to the Wealth Creation Podcast. And welcome to the podcast. My name's Dan Latto. Nice and early this morning, recording some podcasts for you. So in this podcast, we're going to talk to you about how I simplified my business over time. So I used to have a lettings agency going back probably about 10 years now, and we grew that letting agency really well. At one point, we doubled its revenues for like 4 years in a row, which was really cool. And then, of course, 2007, 2008, the recession hit. So it didn't affect the lettings as such, but it really affected one of the other aspects of that business, which was the furniture package business. And really, we should have split these two businesses up anyway. And I remember speaking to an accountant about it at the time and him recommending that we don't. And actually, we should. And we should have really sold the furniture package business, but we didn't. And as it happens, that then became worth nothing in terms of part of that lettings agency. Luckily, however, the lettings agency was up and running, fully systemized and that kind of thing. But when I look back, I really did waste a lot of money in that lettings agency, and I certainly didn't have the experience I've got now. Even though it's only, 11 years ago, something like that? Anyway, it's amazing how, just an extra decade on changes your entire experience. And so in terms of how we run the digital marketing business now, by the way, we sold that lettings agency. I was going through my stuff with the kids and it was just a distraction and I had all this emotional attachment to it. So we ended up selling the lettings agency. We got a good sum of money for it, but actually we could have sold it for more money as well. But I just needed rid of it, because of all the mental attachment that I had to it effectively. So we got rid of that. That was fine. Good decision. Sometimes I wake up in a cold sweat thinking, I shouldn't have sold it. They're worth a couple of million quid today. But there you go. It was, I might not have been around because of the emotional attachment, if you see what I mean. So anyway, what's all that got to do with simplifying your business? So let me tell you a little story. So I used to own my own basketball team and we used to have a guy and he was like 6'8" and he was crap. Like, he couldn't really catch the ball. He certainly couldn't shoot. He didn't know any of the rules. I mean, he was just pretty dreadful. But what he was 6'8" and built like a brick outhouse. He was huge. So we said to the guy, look, I'll tell you what to do. I shoot the ball. You go get the ball. Give it back to me. I'll shoot it again. And that's what he did, and we won a lot of games just because of that. And so that lesson really stuck with me, and so we actually utilise that in all our businesses now. So, for example, in my lettings agency, I've got a cleaner. Now, I tell the cleaner, when a tenant needs something cleaning, your job is just you just go clean it. Nothing else, just do that one thing. And like with this basketball player, as he got better over the next 6 months and the next year and the next 18 months and the next 2 years, and he learned to rebound the ball and actually put it back in the net, and if he missed it, go get it again, and became quite efficient at that, we would add on an extra thing for him to do. And just like with the cleaner, initially it was just cleaning, and then we used to run some Airbnbs, and so it was, deal with move-ins and move-outs, and that worked very well. And now, for example, she opens up all my post and scans it and sends it over to me and puts it in the appropriate envelopes because I live overseas and all my post still goes to the UK because I don't want to be opening post at my house here in Spain. I want to keep it completely separate. It's my little place of zen. But I don't want interrupted by getting bills and invoices, which is just depressing, quite frankly. So every Friday, she'll open up all my posts, we'll go through it, and I go bin, properties, or business envelopes. But it was simplified in terms of what she did. Now, she's done that for a while, so now she does viewings for me. She's very good at viewings. She's just someone's little old granny, basically, so very disarming on viewings, not some slick-haired, spotty 23-year-old BMW driving property manager, the type. And if you're a property manager who's spotty 23 driving a BMW, it's you I'm referring to. How to lose an audience. There you go. So we would take somebody on and they would just do more stuff. So like, for example, we've got different handymen. We've got one main handyman and he does pretty much all my stuff and we've got a good relationship with. And sometimes he does viewings too. And then we've got a more expensive handyman and he's more plumbing based, like boilers and all of that kind of thing. But it's just a bit more expensive, but not as expensive as no call out fees and that kind of thing. So what we do is we take the business and then we systemize it and we give people just individual tasks. So, for example, right now we're just recruiting for sales. So we're going to get the sales guy on board. We've already got him, actually, call after this, later on this morning, lined up. So in terms of sales, all their job is to do sales. That's it. They're in charge of the sales side. And there's two aspects to our business, okay? We've got the sales side and then we've got the delivery side. And this is the digital marketing company. So on the sales side, all he has to do is sell. That's his job. So it doesn't have to do delivery. But what he's got to do is he's got to sell properly. He can't, say we'll do all this and then it gets handed over to delivery and delivery goes, we can't do all that. So he's got to be very specific on what we can do and what we can't do. The delivery side, however, and actually when we created this business, that's the bit that we've really focused on, and I just dealt with sales to begin with. Now the business has grown to a certain extent that now actually we're looking for full-time salespeople. That's really cool. But from a delivery point of view, we've already got a really great team of people, staff, like actual real employees, instead of us doing it all. So on that one, so for example, we've got someone who just does images. They don't do anything else, they just do images. And then we've just got someone who does video, and they don't do anything else. And then we've just got someone who does video editing. So, we get people who record like 5 or 6 different pieces, and then we stick them all together. We have great transitions, we put some music on it, an intro and an outro, and that's all they do. And then we got other people that have very, very specific tasks. I'm not going to go into what those tasks are because that's intellectual property, I'm afraid. And describes how we run the business. But we've got other people in there that just have very specific roles. Now, the only reason we can implement this in our business, if you just employ a person who just do images every single month, you're talking 25 grand a year plus, 35,000 pound a year plus. Most small businesses can't do that, and big businesses have to employ someone that costs them 30 grand a month, a year. And then they have maternity and paternity and holiday time and off for being sick and all of that kind of thing. So this is a great reason why people outsource to us, because they don't have that. Every 12th person, you need a 13th person for free. You need a floater, as I call them. And a floater is, think about this. You employ 12 people. 12 people get 4 weeks holiday each. So that's, one person goes off in month 1, one person goes off in month 2, another person in month 3, and so on. I know it doesn't happen all 4 weeks at the same time, but the result is still the same. 52 weeks out of the year, one person's on holiday at any given point. So every 12 people, you need a 13th person. If you've got 24 people in a team, you need 26. If you've got 36 people in a team, you need 39. It's ridiculous. If you've got 48 people in a team, you need 52. You need an extra 4 people. 4 people at 25 grand a year, it's costing you another £100,000 a year. It's ridiculous. So, and obviously I'm not saying cancel all holiday. I might be saying that. Cancel bank holidays. I might be saying that too. What do you mean you're on a holiday? Coming to work is a holiday, surely. But it definitely impacts the flow, and so you have to take that into account. Now, when we go on holiday, so for example, some of our customer services team might go on holiday, we've got other people that can fill in. Or we can let clients know, actually I'm away for 2 weeks, or I'm away for a week. So let me know before I go, like 2 weeks before, and then we'll get all your stuff scheduled. And when I get back, we'll then catch up. So we can set some expectations, and we've got flexibility in the business in order to do that, unlike a lot of other businesses. But this is really how I've simplified my business, is I've purposefully gone out and given certain people certain tasks. All you have to do is do this. It's very Ford production line, on the Model T. Any colour as long as it's black actually was a lie. That's not actually the case. You could have a Model 4 T in any colour, but that was a phrase that kind of stuck around. But we have a conveyor belt where, the person put the wheels on, one person puts the aerial on, another person adds the windows, and another person paints it. All right, not in that order, but you know what I mean. We've got very specific tasks for very specific people, and that's all they do. Now, once they've then got the basics down and they're becoming good at doing those repetitive tasks, it can be repetitive. So you might want to move people around so they become multi-skilled. And the reason why you might want to move people around so they become multi-skilled is, let's say we have 2 image people off at the same time. One of our video guys can step in. or maybe, 3 video guys are off, one of our image people can step in, or 2 people, and they can just take over some of the workload. So at that point, we become multi-skilled. But think about this. If I'm a graphic designer with 10 years experience and 0 years creating videos, how good do you think those videos are going to be? Not very. So we still limit it. So we still have to limit what we do in terms of it. It depends on what the task is. If your customer service is so I used to work at First Direct, let's say. So if your customer service is for insurance and now you're going to customer services in banking, actually you can do that and be multi-skilled. And then the following week you can go back to insurance and, nobody's really suffered. The phones have been answered. You've answered all the clients' queries. When it's based on skills, that makes it much harder to do. So if you're thinking about doing it in exactly the same way, that's definitely something that you've got to take into account, because this is going to really affect the level of quality, and we want to maintain that level of quality. So if we've got 4 graphic designers and one goes on holiday, we already know in advance that they're going to go on holiday, and then we plan around that. And so we might up the workload and spread that workload across all the others. We might bring in a part-time person to do it, and actually if we did that, we'd just keep them, because the period of growth that we're getting right now is significant in this business, and we're very careful in terms of scaling the business slowly, because it really has the opportunity. If we take on 10 new clients this month, that's a problem for us right now. Certainly this time next year it won't be, but right now that is a problem. So we're slowing it down. We're like 2 or 3 clients is fine, 4 or 5 next month, 6 or 7 the month after, 8 or 9 the month after. So it's nice and steady growth, so that as we grow the client base, we can grow the sales base, and we can grow the the delivery side of things. And so that's really how we've simplified the business. There's only really 4 aspects. One of them is conversion, which is the sales aspect, and another one is the delivery. There's 4 in total. I'm not going to tell you what the other 2 are in this podcast. It'll come up in another podcast, I'm sure. But that's really how we simplify that business. So I hope that's useful for you. I hope you can run with that and implement some of that in your own. Let me know if you can. Would always be interested in hearing feedback, and we'll catch up with you on the next podcast. My name's Dan Latto. Take care. Hey, it's Dan here. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Please click like or subscribe to the entire podcast.